Good morning, boys and girls. Today is the first step in getting the girls ready for artificial insemination. So if you're new to the channel or you don't remember, we AI everything out here on the ranch because we don't have a large enough land base essentially to keep bulls year round, or at least to keep bulls and run them in the style that I would want to run them, AKA not just penning them up in a mud lot 10 and a half months out of the year. So everything has to be AI'd, and we do a 7-day sync protocol with a CIDR to get the girls ready for breeding. The CIDR stands for Controlled Internal Drug Release, and it's essentially a little flux capacitor looking stick soaked in hormones, soaked in drug that gets inserted vaginally, and it sits there for a week. So basically the first step of the process today, it's a Monday, I'm gonna run the cows through the system. They get that CIDR put in, and then they also get a shot of GnRH, which is another hormone. This kind of gets them all getting ready to get into a heat cycle. So the idea with AI obviously is it's labor intensive and it costs money, and you want to do it as little as possible. So you want to get all of the breeding females that you're looking at breeding that year synced up at the same time. So everyone can run through the system, the chute system, and get inseminated at roughly the same time. A little bit different protocols for heifers versus cows, but that's something we can get into later. So the following Monday, I'll run them back through again. We're gonna pull those CIDRs, give them a different drug, and then about 2.5 days after that is when they'll actually get inseminated. So what they're getting today is Factrel. It's 2 cc's of Factrel per animal, and that stuff actually has to stay refrigerated. So I'm leaving it in the refrigerator until the minute I'm ready, then I'll bring it out in a cooler, draw it all up. We're doing 5 females, so 3 cows, 2 heifers. That brings me to my next point. This year, I actually started to upgrade my facilities again with the intent of being able to AI myself. I knew that my handling facilities needed reworked a little bit. So I spent some money, and I was lucky I found a unit here in the state of Iowa, and it was used, and it was less expensive than brand new. But I'm really hoping that that's going to make working cattle from here on out a lot better. All right, so here it is. This is the Value 90 sweep system from Tarter. There's a lot of good choices out there when it comes to kind of entry-level handling facilities. I went with Tarter from the very beginning simply because that's what my local farm retail stores carried. And they seem to be able to get anything. You know, I was looking at Prefert, that's obviously pretty expensive. I had looked at Balin Country has a system that Tractor Supply carries, but they weren't able to get everything I needed. It seemed like Tarter was sold at 2 out of the 4 farm store retailers around here. And for the most part, you could get everything. I didn't want to spend the price of brand new. And the biggest issue also with brand new was the fact that it was $1,000 to ship the system. So the unit itself, I think right now is retailing for close to $3 grand. Maybe it's dropped a little bit, 2,700 bucks maybe, but another $1,000 to get it shipped from their warehouse to your farm supply store, because they can't just ship it to your door. I knew I was going to have to find a used unit somewhere. So I didn't get any videos of getting the herd up into the handling facilities, but definitely the next thing that I got to start tackling with this is a better way to sort the cattle off. You'll see in this video, my uncle is out here helping me. He's a lifelong cattleman. He actually got out of the cattle industry the year before I got in, so that figures. But having him around today actually really helped get the animals sorted off to help decide who's going through the rest of the handling facilities and who isn't. But if I had to do this alone, I'm going to have to find a better way to sort the cattle. You see me struggling with the Cedar Applicator right here, and that's for 2 reasons. For starters, you know, that heifer's moving around a lot, and that's because, oh, yep, forgot to squeeze the chute down. It seems to take 1 or 2 animals going through before I kind of get into the swing of things, and I always forget that I can squeeze that chute. And watch when I withdraw this applicator right here, how tough it is to even pull this out of the animal. I forgot to lube that Cedar Applicator, and I actually ran through 2 animals before it occurred to me that, man, I'm having trouble getting this applicator in and pulling it out. I wonder why. and the girls were very uncomfortable. Well, that's because the giant bottle of OB lube I forgot to take out of the box. So once I remembered that I needed that, things went a lot smoother. So this is actually a 24-month-old heifer. This is her first time being bred. I wait until the girls are 24 months before I start bringing them into the breeding program. I just feel like they get better condition on them, get a little bit more mature. I don't breed at 12 months like most people do. So here we're trying to get the herd boss in, number one. And if you've watched any of my previous videos, particularly the ones where I am working cattle, some of you know what's about to happen. Number one does not do anything that she does not want to do. She is very, very stubborn. She is not the most trustworthy. She's a great mom. She's a great cow. I love having her around. But honestly, if anyone was going to go, it's going to be her, simply because when it comes time to handling her, she gives us a lot of trouble. So the Cedar Applicator, again, once I got it lubed up and she's a mature cow, actually getting that cedar inserted in her went really, really well. The one thing that she hates the most is getting an injection, and you'll see here in just a minute when I go to put that GnRH in her neck, she freaks out, actually to the point that I had to go get another needle. And last year, in an attempt to not get the girls to freak out, I was using 20 gauge needles, but I actually bent a needle or two, and I think that was responsible for not having one of the girls successfully bred, because all of the medication did not get into the muscle like it needed to. So this year I'm using 1.5" 18 gauge needles, and as soon as she gets stuck, man, she freaks out. Let me get a new needle. So it took 2 sticks on her. She freaked out just as much the second time around getting that GnRH into her neck. But I got the entire medication pushed in. There was no issues with the needle. And as soon as she was let out of the chute, she was calm. She wasn't stressed. She just doesn't like being handled. I plan to do a full in-depth review of this Series 3 chute, but you'll notice right now I'm having trouble actually getting that auto headgate to open. That's one big thing I don't like about it, is if the animals are pushed too far forward or too far back, it's tough to actually get that headgate open to let the animals out sometimes. So she is a pain in the butt. And if it's easier on, there you go, yeah. And if it's easier on this one, just keep pushing that gate. I want to see if that sweep actually works. So I made that comment because I'm actually missing a piece. When I picked up this system, there's a large bar that goes on the ground that ties those 2 rounded panels together with a corner across the sweep, essentially. So the previous owner told me that they never got that part to begin with from Tarter, and that they had some problems when they were pushing cattle through. They would get that rounded panel out of round, and it would create an opening, essentially, that the cows could squeeze past.
You got her.
That thing's actually surprising me this year. I think I made an adjustment on it over the winter. I think it's helping, but I think it also helps that they can't turn around like they could before. You know, you chase them down that alley, but there was enough room that they could spin around on you. So this is a 3-year-old heifer that I'm inserting a cedar in now. And she was actually the one last year who was not successfully bred, because I think when I put in that 20 gauge needle in her neck for that first round, and she freaked out a little bit, it bent that needle, and I don't believe that the medication got deep enough into her muscle to actually get her synced and in heat. So it was kind of a wasted AI attempt on her.
All right. We got to get this tan one through.
Oh, number 2, my favorite cow. Man, she is just such a joy to work. She is so calm. She is not stressed at all. And she even has a calf that she's been separated from for the last 30, 45 minutes. She just kind of calmly walks through the system. You'll see here in a minute, she just walks right into the chute and gets in the headgate. And actually, on that note, you'll probably see in the video that she actually has trouble latching that headgate because she walks in so slow. So that's another issue that I found with this auto headgate, that if you have very tame cows, they don't put enough force on that headgate to auto shut. If they just kind of walk right in, they almost need to run into the thing in a panic to get it to actually latch. So I had to come around and manually close that and latch that auto headgate around her because she's just so chill. So she's just gonna stand here for a while I go draw up drugs and get ready for that cedar. I don't even think she mooed one time. And again, this whole time, I mean, she's been without her calf for 30, 45 minutes. So, man, if this ranch could have 30 more females like her, that would be phenomenal. I think this is a good opportunity too to kind of show how this Series 3 chute and headgate, I feel, really work perfect for dexters. I mean, look at where those bars on that headgate are starting to open up to go around the neck. Obviously, there's some space above where she is for, you know, a larger animal, but I just feel like everything on this chute is made for dexter cattle. So again, a very easy cedar insertion once I remembered to lube that applicator, and her being a mature cow, she's had this done multiple times.
Well, he will.
Yeah, probably on the second round.
Yeah, he will. This thing is just...
Is he going to come here, or are you going to take
No, I'm going to take... He's only 6 miles down the road.
You'll see in a second here, I'm kind of smacking her neck before I make that injection. That's just desensitizing the area and makes it so that prick in her neck from the needle is not such a shock to her. But I think this whole running number 2 through the system was just, the whole thing was picture perfect, kind of a great example of how everything should go and could go, you know, if you're comfortable, if you're confident, and you have, you know, quality, chill, tame cattle. That cedar applicator gets cleaned in between each animal, first in warm soapy water, then clean water, and then lastly it sits and soaks in a bucket of chlorhexidine solution just to disinfect.
That young man is a pet.
Oh, yeah.
He's making sure everybody's good.
So that's it. Everyone who needed to be worked has gone through the system, and I'm actually in the back pasture right now calling them down. They had yet to be moved that day. I did not move them in the morning because I wanted them to come up into the corral facilities easily. So you'll see in a minute how excited they were to get on some fresh stuff.
Come on, girls!
Good kids. All right, after reflecting on the day yesterday and thinking about that Value 90 sweep tub, man, I'm so glad that I bought it. I'm really impressed with it. It worked really, really well. I'm gonna do a full review of that Cattlemaster Series 3 chute by Tarter and the Value 90 sweep tub. But in short, I love it. Anyone who's on the fence about getting a sweep tub, oh my gosh, it made life so much easier. So watch for that video coming out later. As you can see behind me, started getting hay yesterday. So after we finished up cattle, made a couple trips to the guy who I get small squares from and picked up some hay. So I got to get that loaded up into the hay loft up there. But yeah, questions, comments, concerns, sarcastic remarks, you guys know the drill. Leave them down below and I will talk to you guys later.